Welcome back to the Cali G Kitchen and welcome to day 34 of your 101 food and fasting program. Tonight we are making salmon fajitas, homemade sweet potato flatbreads with a guaca-salsa. And you know what it is? I think I'm going to throw in some halloumi in there. I'm sure I've got some halloumi. I just bought some halloumi. Anyways, I'll find it shortly. But first of all, we're going to get started straight on the salsa. So, the reason I'm starting on the salsa, I just want to let all the flavours kind of work together. Let that lime kind of pickle the onion and the other vegetables, and tomatoes not actually a vegetable, it's a fruit, but you know what I mean. And the pepper's a fruit if you think about it. But anyways, we're starting on the salsa first of all. All I'm doing here is rolling the lime just to break all those little, don't know what they're called, break all the fibre down basically inside so that the juice will squeeze. I'll get more juice out of this basically. And I should actually just buy one of those little things that you juice your lemons and limes on, because I go through tons of these. Squeezing the full juice of the lime out. And I'm actually going to use a spoon as well. This can just help kind of put the spoon in there and just squeeze every last little drop out. And the same again with the other half. We are going in with juice of a lime, 6 tablespoons of olive oil, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Going in just a tablespoon, is it, of maple syrup. Just add a little bit of sweetness. Juice of a lime, one teaspoon, not a tablespoon. Give that a little bit of a mix. Let me just taste that. I'm going to go in with a little bit more juice. That lime was quite old, so I didn't get much juice out of it. So I'm just adding kind of like a third of a lemon here. A third of lemon juice. Just so I've got a little bit more liquid in that salsa. Awesome. We are taking half a red onion. And we're just going to chop this extra fine. Going in there with our red onion. Making a mess as per usual. Just pop that red onion aside. I've got a beef tomato here, quite a small beef tomato, but that's kind of enough. You could use 2 regular tomatoes. And where's our avocado? We've got our avocado there. Okay, so I'm kind of just going to, first of all, I'm going to remove this little stalk. But we want to have like little 1 centimetre cubes, let's say, tomato. Going in with that. Oops. I've got a red pepper, quite a small red pepper actually. Says half a red or an orange pepper. I'm going to use an orange one. Sorry, I'm going to use a red one. It's quite small, so I'm going to use the full pepper. And as I've shown you before, best way to kind of get the most out of your pepper, push the stalk in and then pull it back out. Basically take the top off, take the bottom off, split it open, and then usually you would have quite a bit of this white stuff on the inside. You kind of just run your knife on the inside and take that out. And then same, we want to have just little pieces of this pepper around the same size as our tomato. I think that's a pepper growing inside a pepper. We'll have that. And another pepper growing inside of a pepper. Got our pepper going in there. We're missing something. Half a clove of garlic, but that's quite a small clove, so I'm going to use the full lot. Just going to top and tail that, and I'm going to just slice this very, very finely. That's going in there also, and coriander. I'm just going to sort this out because some of that's looking old and dried. It's got a bunch of coriander going in. You can say that, can't you? Yes, you can. Of course you can. Bunch this all together and then kind of thinly slice this. Now coriander going in. One avocado around this size. I'm going to use the full lot. Just cut that round, give that a twist. Be careful when you're doing this, but you kind of go like this. And usually, depending if the avocado is like ripe, that would have just came out like that. But just be careful not to cut yourself. And then there's a couple of ways you can do this. you can scoop it out and then slice it up, or you can kind of slice it while it's inside the shell and then go crossways. Again, you can scoop it, or you can sort of just, this avocado is not that ripe. I would have liked a more ripe avocado, but it's not the end of the world. And you just kind of scoop that out like that. I'm going to chop this into the same sort of size pieces as our tomato and our pepper. Going in with our avocado. Just give my hands a little wash. Just remember to season this as well. So going in with some salt. Pepper. I'm going to give this a good mix. Make sure you get everything coated in that nice dressing. It's just going to help all those flavours kind of mix together. Just break that avocado up a little bit. And then this is just going to go into the fridge until we're ready to serve. But you can kind of, if you wanted to make this in advance, I would say a good time to sort of leave this for all the flavours to get to work is maybe 2 to 4 hours just left in the fridge, and it'll kind of just, the lime juice will kind of just pickle the onion, the garlic and the peppers, the tomato, and it'll just kind of just blend all those flavours together. So I'm just going to cover that and put that into the fridge until we're ready to serve. What you probably want to do now as well, this is for the flatbreads, is get your sweet potato and you can put it into the microwave. Just prick it once, put it in the microwave in a microwavable bowl, and cover it 5 minutes for a potato around this size even. I'm going to just scoop the filling out, and that's going to be used for our flatbreads. The reason you want to do that now is because you want to cut it open and just basically let it go cold, or as cold as you possibly can, because if you start mixing hot potato with your flour and your egg and stuff, it's just going to start cooking the flour and the egg. So we don't want to do that. We kind of want to just have this cold. So I'm just going to pop that aside there for a minute. Got our little jar here for. I'm actually going to tidy up a little bit, and then we'll move on to the fajita seasoning. So for our fajita, no, it's fajita. The J is silent. So combine all the spices, salt and pepper. And we also want to add the corn flour in there as well. So we're going to add 4 tablespoons of smoked paprika. I think this is like my favourite spice. More than a bit. Uh-oh. So that's 2.5. You know what it is, I'm sure I've got a bag of it somewhere. Yes. So that was 2.5. Let's say 3. And 4. Four tablespoons of cumin. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The reason we're using so much is because we're doing it for all of this salmon here, and we've got some chicken to cook on day 37, I believe. So we're not going to use all this today. 4 tablespoons of oregano. That's a teaspoon, Jason. What are you doing? One, 2, 3, and 4. 4 tablespoons of ground coriander. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got some turmeric, hold on, cayenne pepper. Get the cayenne pepper out. Cayenne chili pepper. Depending on how hot you like it, this pepper is quite hot. So you can either use, let's have a look, 1 or 2 tablespoons. I'm using 2 because I don't mind the heat. Maybe you want this a little less hot. You don't actually have to put this in if you don't want, but I would advise to put at least a bit in. So 2 tablespoons of that going in. Coriander, and last but not least, our garlic granules, our garlic powder. Make sure it's not the garlic salt. We don't want to be adding extra salt in there when we're going to season it anyways. So we've got 1 teaspoon of garlic powder going in. Some salt and pepper. Probably use a teaspoon of salt gone in there. It might look like I'm putting a lot of pepper in here, but this pepper grinder is not the best. and let's say a teaspoon of pepper. We also need a teaspoon of, is it a teaspoon or a tablespoon? 2 teaspoons of turmeric. We'll just say 1 tablespoon. Right. It's 1 and 2. And all I need to do with this is just give it a good mix. Lid goes on. Just give that a shake. Missing one thing. Teaspoon corn flour. Taste test. See if it needs anything more. I'm going to say we put in another teaspoon of garlic. I do feel like there's something missing. Another. So this, you can follow the recipe, but I advise you to taste it, and then if you want to put anything more in, so you might think it needs a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that. I'm adding in some extra cayenne pepper because I like heat, and I want some more smoked paprika to go in because I do like my smoky taste. I'm going to go in with another tablespoon of that, and a touch more salt. Might say I'm using a lot of salt there, but this is actually for 3 meals. Probably going to do more than 3 meals. There's quite a bit of seasoning there. So we're going to give this another shake. Another taste test. That's good to go. Good to go. So, moving on to, so we've done our salsa. We just need to marinate this. Sorry, I've just lost myself. The salmon. So I'm going to chop this salmon into cubes. Generally in fajitas you would have slices of chicken or slices of beef or slices of whatever it is that you're putting in there. Because salmon, if we chop salmon like that, it's likely to fall to pieces. So we're going to keep it in cubes. So let's move that side. Cubes like that. go. Going into a bowl. I'm going to use half of this. Let's say half, maybe it's not even half, a third of our fajita seasoning. Give that a good coating. And we'll just set that aside till we're ready to cook. We are going to make a start on, so we've done our salsa, whoops, we've prepped the salmon. We're going to make a start on our bread. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to turn my oven on because I want, although I am going to do, am I going to do that? I'm going to do the flatbreads in the oven side. I'm going to preheat my oven to 220. For the flatbreads, we need our sweet potato. We want 1 egg yolk. We want 1/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt, a cup of gluten-free flour, and a little more for dusting the surface, some salt and some pepper. So, I think I've already shown you how to do this, but I'll show you again just for the crack. So take the top of the egg and you kind of just pour the egg yolk from one shell to another, and if you get a snotty bit of egg like that, you kind of just cut it with the egg yolk and eventually it will fall off, and then that goes in to the bowl just before it went everywhere. And we want 1/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt. It's around 1/4 of a cup going in. Just kind of mix that into the egg yolk. salt going in, some pepper, and then we're going to take the inside of our sweet potato. Might be able to get away with just peeling this straight off. Awesome. Kind of want to make like a paste with the yogurt, the egg yolk and sweet potato. Once we've made kind of like a paste with this, we're going to add in our gluten-free flour. I'll go in with a fork because that sweet potatoes dried a little hard, so I'm going to go in with a fork and just give it a helping hand, get that mashed up nicely. Just like that. And now we're going to go in with our gluten-free flour. Going in with a cup of gluten-free flour. And work this into a dough. Kind of work it in as best you can, just with the spoon. And then we are going to get our hands dirty in a minute. So what you want to do here, you can use any oil, you can use coconut oil, you can use olive oil. Coat your hands in this oil, and it's just going to stop this mixture kind of sticking to your hands. Just going to knead this together. I say stop it from sticking, it's going to help stop some of it from sticking. I probably could have worked a little bit more with the spoon. And just work it for a few minutes before you think about adding any more flour or any more. I don't know, if you needed to add more moisture in there, you might want to add a little bit more Greek yogurt if needed. But you kind of want to just work this together for a minute, and when it starts to clean the bowl, you know that's at a good consistency. I'm going to try and get some of this excess stuff off my fingers, off my hands. There's our dough for our flatbreads. I'm going to set that aside just for a minute. I'm going to tidy up a little bit here. I'm going to wash my hands as well. Just a little drop of oil there just to grease these trays up so the flatbreads don't stick. And we just want enough so it's gonna, I mean look, not even a teaspoon, just so it puts a coating on there. One thing I didn't think about, but you could also add some herbs to this. Some coriander or some oregano would be quite nice. And then I'm going to prep these. Actually, hold on. Get our oven heating up there. What I will do, I will follow the recipe. That's what I'll do. Preheat the oven. Done that. Okay, preheat the oven. I've done the sweet potato. I've moved on to the salmon. I've made, okay, flour clean surface. Split them into, I'm going to do what it says in the sheet. This is going to be my clean surface. I'm going to make 6 flatbreads out of this. To do this, you want to use the back of a knife. It doesn't really matter, it's just because I'm cutting down on this actually. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 and 3. Doesn't matter if some are bigger than the other. What matters is the thickness of these. So let's just set some of those aside. roll this into a ball. I'm kind of just flattening this out. You can use your hands. You can also oil your hands up as well. I think I used a rolling pin for this last time. This is the second time I've made these, so I'm kind of hoping they go to plan again. One thing, you've got to be quite gentle with this. I think that's what I done last time. Rolled it out once and then flattened it out kind of with my hands. Make sure you floured the surface properly, otherwise these will stick. Got one flatbread. Kind of flatten it out with your hand. Rolling pin, be gentle with it. And then patting it down with the palm, with the fingers. Trying to get them the same sort of thickness. Straight onto the tray like that. I'll try and get 3 on those, 3 on each tray. What you could do if you don't have space, you could attempt, if you really want to roll this out into a square, into a rectangle maybe, and you would just have one big flatbread, and you could maybe wrap everything up inside of it. Maybe that's for another episode, another day, another week. I think I'll experiment with these again. So I'm just going to set them aside for a minute. These don't take long to cook at all. So once the salmon's in there, once the salmon is on the go, the flatbreads will go into the oven. Like I say, I've got the oven on a high heat, 220. I'm just going to add a little bit more flour to our surface. Kind of flatten it by hand, give it a gentle roll. A little bit too much flour on that. If you do have it, sorry, forgot to say it. If you've got a spare pan there, I need to get like another frying pan. You could kind of do these in the pan. They are actually better in the pan. I done a test last week and I found that the ones done in the pan were a little bit nicer. So there's our flatbreads ready to go in the oven. I'm going to clear up this surface and then we'll make a start on the salmon. So we want for the fajita salmon, I knew there was a reason I got this other pepper out. Okay, so I'm going to use I'm going to use half this pepper. It's quite a big pepper. Do you know what it is? I'm going to use all the pepper because I'm cooking for a few days here, aren't I? Cooking for 2 days. So yes, I'm going to use full pepper. I do need to get some coconut oil in this pan. We've kind of sliced our onion in half and then slice it the other way so that you get these long pieces. similar sort of length to your pepper. Break these up. Yes, and you're always missing something. Some fresh garlic going in. One clove of fresh garlic. Turn that up a little bit and try to get a nice bit of colour on these peppers and onions. Kind of going to move them aside and make way for our salmon. As the salmon's gone in, so the flatbreads go into the oven. We're going to add just a little touch of garlic chilli oil in there, just to give that salmon a little bit of a helping hand. Probably could have done smaller chunks of salmon, but does it matter? Not really, no. Just going to get this all mixed together now. Gonna get some nice colour on that salmon, and I'm going to put a lid on this actually in a second. What we don't want to do is move this around too much that the salmon just starts to fall to pieces. So now we've got, tell you what, I'm going to give it one last little mix about. And now I'm going to put the lid on, just so that cooks through. Tidy up while that cooks through, probably for 5 minutes or so. We want to check them flatbreads halfway through and just give them a turn as well, which I will do in just a second. Tidying some of my spices away. What I'm doing here as well, so I'm just chopping up another little bunch of coriander, kind of for garnish, because you just can't beat fresh coriander thrown in right at the end. So some of it will go into our fajita, and some of it just sprinkled over the top of our salsa. Been a couple of minutes from my flatbreads, so I'm going to just give them a little bit of a flip. around the halloumi. Give that one last little shake about. That's going to be done for our halloumi. Probably should have started this halloumi earlier, but time like the present. Our flatbreads are done. I'm just going to leave them in the oven to keep hot. Actually I won't, because the heat of that oven will probably cook them even more. And as you can see, there's our flatbreads. I think they should be okay actually. This halloumi's going into the air fryer for quickness. That should be done by the time everything's dished up. Okay, we're going to give that halloumi just a couple of minutes. While we're waiting, let's maybe check out what's on the list for tomorrow. So tomorrow, what we're doing with half of this, I don't know if you can see that, half of this salmon, we are going to upcycle it into a salad. So it's going to be fajita salmon with pan-fried halloumi, broccoli, almonds, garlic, and a rice salad bowl. So it's going to be one big rice salad bowl with we're going to pan fry the halloumi, the broccoli, even the almonds with some garlic, and then throw that all together with some rice and a big bowl of salad. I'm going to show you what we're working with here. This is our fajita salmon. Around half. Maybe now it's half. Going over with some fresh coriander right at the end. One, because it tastes amazing, and two, it looks good. There we have it. Let me just clean the surface a little bit. We've got our salmon fajita with sweet potato flatbreads. We've got a guaca-salsa there. And just to add something else, we've put some halloumi on the menu too. Hope you all enjoy. I will see you again soon. I'll see you again tomorrow on the Cali G Kitchen. Goodbye for now.